Welcome to our exploration of the unseen forces that can disrupt our spiritual lives. Prayer is a cornerstone for many, acting as a bridge between the physical and divine, offering solace, guidance, and a way to express our deepest hopes and fears. Yet, sometimes it feels as though our prayers are lost, unheard, echoing in a void. This isn't by accident, but often a result of specific influences that, intentionally or not, block our spiritual communications. The role of prayer cannot be overstated. It is our direct line to the divine, a source of strength and peace in tumultuous times. But what happens when that line seems disrupted, when our prayers feel more like whispers against a storm? It's crucial to recognize that not all barriers to our spiritual conversations are of this world. Some are decidedly more shadowy, entities, or influences that seek to sever our connections and isolate us from the spiritual support we seek. In this video, we will uncover 6 demonic influences that could be standing between you and your prayers: doubt and unbelief, fear, unforgiveness, pride, idolatry, and despair. Each of these has the power to distort, distract, or completely block your spiritual communications, but with awareness and the right strategies, these barriers can be overcome. Join us as we delve into the darkness to bring these influences into the light, providing you with the knowledge and tools to fortify your spiritual life. The first demonic influence that could be blocking your prayers is doubt and unbelief. Doubt and unbelief are like silent whispers in the mind, subtly questioning the power of prayer and the existence of the divine. This skepticism can create a significant barrier between an individual and their spiritual practice, weakening their connection to the divine. When faith wavers, it's as if the spiritual signal is lost. Prayers feel less potent, and the sense of divine presence dims. This is not just a crisis of faith. It's an active disruption by influences that seek to isolate us from spiritual support. The signs of doubt and unbelief can be subtle or overt, ranging from a feeling of disconnection during prayer to questioning the efficacy of prayer altogether. Other indicators include a lack of interest in spiritual activities, feelings of cynicism towards religious teachings, or a pervasive sense of hopelessness. These symptoms point towards a growing chasm between the individual and their faith, exacerbated by these negative influences. Combating doubt and unbelief starts with recognizing and acknowledging these feelings without judgment. Engaging in open, honest conversations with trusted spiritual leaders or community members can provide new perspectives and reassurance. Deliberately consuming inspirational content, testimonies of faith, and scriptural promises can reignite the flame of belief. Finally, consistent prayer, even in the face of doubt, acts as an affirmation of faith, a declaration that despite the current feelings, there is a commitment to reconnect with the divine. Strengthening faith is a journey, one that requires patience, persistence, and the willingness to seek and find the divine in everyday life. The second thing that could be blocking your prayers is fear. Fear is a powerful emotion that can serve as a significant barrier to effective prayer, acting as a blockade that prevents our deepest vulnerabilities and desires from being laid bare in spiritual communication. It thrives on the anxieties about the unknown, the future, and our worthiness, creating a paralyzing effect that stifles the open-heartedness required for genuine prayer. When fear takes hold, it distorts our perception of the divine as loving and supportive, instead painting a picture of judgment and disappointment, making the act of prayer daunting and fraught with tension. In spiritual practices, fear often manifests as hesitation to engage fully in prayer, a reluctance to ask for help or guidance, or even a complete avoidance of prayer out of fear of not being heard or worthy. It can also appear as a constant worry over the correctness of one's prayer, leading to ritualistic or obsessive behaviors that lack the sincere connection intended in prayerful communication. Combating fear begins with acknowledging its presence and understanding its baseless nature. Reflecting on past instances where fear was overcome can serve as a reminder of one's strength and the supportive presence of the divine. Engaging in regular spiritual practices, such as meditation and scripture reading, can help build a foundation of faith that acts as a bulwark against fear. Sharing fears with a supportive spiritual community can also diminish their power, as the act of voicing worries often brings clarity and perspective. Cultivating courage in prayer is about trusting the divine's unconditional love and support, allowing this trust to silence fears and open the heart to a more profound, fearless communication. The next thing that can block your prayers is unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is a toxic burden that weighs heavily on the soul, manifesting as a persistent barrier to spiritual wellness and effective prayer. It acts like a poison, slowly seeping into every corner of one's spiritual life, creating walls of resentment that block the flow of divine grace and mercy. This bitterness not only hampers our ability to connect with the divine, but also disrupts our inner peace, making prayer feel more like an empty ritual than a heartfelt conversation. The energy spent holding on to past hurts and grievances is energy diverted away from healing and growth, leaving little room for the love and light that prayer seeks to invite into our lives. Identifying unforgiveness in oneself can be challenging, as it often hides behind justifications or is buried deep within, festering over time. It may manifest as recurring thoughts of anger or resentment towards someone for past wrongs, a reluctance to think kindly of or wish well for them, or even a persistent feeling of being wronged or victimized. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward healing, as it brings to light the need to address this spiritual blockage. The journey to forgiveness and liberation from its grip begins with a conscious decision to let go of the past, recognizing that forgiveness is more for your spiritual freedom than for the offender. It involves an empathetic attempt to see the situation from the other person's perspective, understanding that forgiveness does not condone the action, but frees the individual from its emotional bondage. Prayer and meditation can be powerful tools in this process, asking for the strength to forgive and for the peace to move forward. Engaging in practices that promote empathy, compassion, and understanding, such as community service or supportive groups, can also facilitate this healing process. Forgiveness is a key that unlocks the door to a more profound, unobstructed relationship with the divine, restoring the purity and openness that characterizes a vibrant prayer life. The fourth thing that may block your prayers is pride. Pride, with its deep roots in the ego, significantly distorts one's relationship with the divine, placing the self at the center of the universe rather than the divine will. It manifests as a sense of self-sufficiency that diminishes the perceived need for divine guidance or intervention, leading to prayers that are more about asserting one's own will than seeking alignment with the higher will. This distortion creates a barrier to genuine spiritual connection, as it prioritizes the individual's desires and perspectives over the wisdom and guidance of the divine, reducing the effectiveness of prayer by making it a one-sided conversation focused on self-aggrandizement rather than true communion. The contrast between prideful and humble prayer is stark. While prideful prayer is characterized by demands and entitlement, expecting the divine to serve one's egoistic desires, humble prayer is open, receptive, and surrendering, acknowledging one's limitations and the vastness of divine wisdom. Humble prayer is a recognition of our dependence on the divine, a conversation filled with gratitude, reverence, and the desire to align more closely with divine purposes, rather than merely seeking personal gain. Cultivating humility involves intentional practices that shift focus from the self to the divine and to others. It begins with reflection and acknowledgement of one's vulnerabilities and limitations, Recognizing the infinite nature of the divine compared to our finite understanding, engaging in acts of service can also foster humility, as it places the needs of others above one's own, reminding us of our interconnectedness and the joy of contributing to the welfare of the community. Regular prayer and meditation focused on gratitude and the seeking of divine guidance over personal desires can further reorient the heart and mind towards a more humble approach to spirituality, facilitating a deeper, more authentic connection with the divine. The next demonic thing that can block your prayers is idolatry. Idolatry, in its broadest sense, is the elevation of anything to a status that rivals or exceeds one's devotion to the divine. In contemporary contexts, idolatry isn't just about statues or altars. It encompasses an obsession with material wealth, fame, power, or even relationships and personal achievements. These modern idols divert our focus and energy from spiritual pursuits, replacing our primary devotion to the divine with attachments to temporal satisfactions. Such misplaced priorities cloud our spiritual vision, leading to prayers that are misaligned with our true purpose and leaving less room for divine guidance in our lives. The impact of idolatry on one's spiritual focus and prayer life is profound. When objects, people, or ambitions take precedence, our prayers often become superficial or self-serving, reflecting our desires for what the idols can give us rather than seeking a deeper connection with the divine. This shift not only diminishes the quality of our spiritual life, but can lead to a sense of emptiness and disillusionment, as the temporary satisfactions idols offer cannot fulfill our deeper spiritual needs. Recognizing and removing idols from our lives requires honest self-reflection and the willingness to reassess our priorities. Identifying what consumes most of our thoughts, time, and resources can reveal our modern-day idols. Once identified, intentional efforts to redirect our focus towards the divine are necessary. This can involve setting aside dedicated time for prayer and meditation, engaging in acts of service that align with divine values, and consciously practicing gratitude for what we have, rather than incessantly desiring more. By doing so, we can dismantle the pedestals on which we've placed our idols and restore the divine to its rightful place at the center of our lives. The final things that can block your prayers are despair and hopelessness. Despair and hopelessness cast long shadows over the soul, creating a paralyzing effect that stifles not only the act of prayer, but also the broader journey of spiritual growth. When engulfed by these dark emotions, the possibility of divine intervention can seem distant or even non-existent, leading to prayers that are at best perfunctory, at worst abandoned. This state of despair not only blocks the light of hope, but can make us feel unworthy or incapable of receiving divine love and guidance, further entrenching the soul in darkness. Yet it is precisely in these moments of profound despair that the potential for spiritual deepening and transformation lies. Encouragement to combat despair comes from the very essence of faith itself, the belief in a presence greater than our circumstances, capable of transforming pain into purpose. Maintaining hope amidst despair involves clinging to the promises found in sacred texts, the support of a compassionate community, and the personal discipline of daily prayer and meditation, even when it feels like going through the motions. Countless testimonies speak to the power of faith in overcoming despair. Stories abound of individuals who, at their lowest, found solace and strength in their spiritual practices, discovering a wellspring of hope that carried them through. These narratives serve not only as a beacon of hope for those still walking through the valley of despair, but also as a reminder of the transformative power of faith and the ever-present support of the divine. By holding on to faith, even in the faintest form, we open ourselves to divine intervention that can lead us out of despair and into a place of peace and renewed purpose. In navigating the complex spiritual landscape marked by various challenges, vigilance and spiritual discipline emerge as indispensable tools. They not only fortify us against the myriad forms of demonic influence, but also ensure that our connection to the divine remains unobstructed and vibrant. The journey is one of continuous effort, where daily prayer, meditation, and reflection become the bedrock of a resilient spiritual life. Recognizing the signs of these influences and actively seeking to counteract them with faith, hope, and love is essential for maintaining a healthy spiritual path. Yet, no one is meant to walk this path alone. The strength found in community and the wisdom gained from shared experiences are invaluable. If you find yourself struggling with any of these demonic influences, know that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. There are countless others who have walked similar paths and found ways through the darkness. By leaning on each other, we can navigate these challenges more effectively and emerge stronger in our faith. We invite you to share your experiences or strategies for overcoming these spiritual blocks in the comments below. Your story could be the beacon of hope someone needs to hear today. And if you're looking for more content on spiritual welfare and growth, consider subscribing to our channel. Together, we can support one another in our journeys, grow in our spiritual lives, and continue to seek the light, even in the darkest of times. Keep seeking, keep growing, and until next time, stay connected.